Manchester United 4, Liverpool 3. The Reds crash out of the FA Cup in the quarter-finals. Wild game of football, wild. And obviously United took the lead, and there was obviously a great deal of positivity around how United were playing football from their perspective. And the Reds, I just thought, did really well to get themselves back in it. They looked like they gathered back a measure of control. I don't say it's all going to plan, but we've seen Liverpool go behind loads of times in games this season, and normally they figure it out and then they go on and just win. And I honestly felt like that was just what was going to happen, to be honest. And I suppose that's just me as a fan sat watching it on the telly, but did a little bit of complacency creep in from Liverpool as well. I think legginess definitely crept in. It ended up being a huge factor. Just a game too far for this team, for this squad. Too many minutes on the back of too many minutes. It's funny. It's a big rival. Let's have it right. We want to beat Man United in every single competition, and every time you're trying to find some sort of positivity, it feels like excuse making or whatever. But when you play on a Thursday, it tends to impact how you play on a Sunday. I thought Liverpool had managed themselves really well into this, and I think this game needed winning in 90 minutes. That was the long and short of it, really. And we had enough there to do that. We created the chances. Man United are not very good, and that'll sound like sour grapes, and look, undoubtedly there is a percentage of that. I will freely admit it does not make me happy to see Man United win, and it certainly does not make me happy to see them win against Liverpool. It's frustrating because, there's a gulf in class across the two teams, and there should be enough there for Liverpool to win that game. They should put it to bed. They should keep the door shut. And moreover, they should score the goals to put the game. They had the chances. And when you don't take your chances in that ground, in an atmosphere that can be created like that, then you're asking for trouble. You really are. That's what they are. The Man United are now what we were in the 90s and early 2000s. They're that cup team. They've got pace. They can hit you on the counter. They have got good footballers. They're not a great team, not a great unit. They're not a great, and the manager's not a great master tactician, but they can hit you, and that's what they did. They got a great atmosphere behind them, and the players that they had on the pitch were able to cause us problems. So in that regards, look, sour grapes, definitely a bit on that regard. But it feels like it's Liverpool who've undone themselves as much as anything else. Huge opportunities. Time and time again, we found ourselves getting in and on Manchester United's back line, bearing down on goal and unable to put them to the sword. Darwin Núñez plays a terrible ball that gets them into it. Huge credit to the lads who continue to dig deep. Harvey Elliot, ran his socks off the tee. I thought McAllister, he won't get man of the match. Ultimately, a Man United player would get it in a general sense, but I thought McAllister was the best player on the pitch today by some distance. Thought he was absolutely brilliant. Thought Quansah did brilliantly. I thought Van Dijk played well. Kelleher made some big saves. Both keepers played really well, to be fair. But just that criminal lack of cutting edge. And again, I'm sure Cody Gakpo will take criticism because he's the guy who comes on to the pitch in our attacking line. So sorely missing Diogo Jota. But look, Liverpool have got enough good players there to win that. We create enough chances on another day. You'd be home and hose comfortable in that one. We really would. But today was United's day. That's just the sad reality of it. I don't like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like living in it. But that's what happens. And again, they've been on the receiving end of us doing stuff like that over the years, where the worst team finds a way to ultimately come through because they've still got players capable of hitting you, and that's what they've done today. So look, fair play. The annoying thing about it is I don't think they're good enough to win the cup, and that's what a real frustration. And we've lost also. The biggest thing for me, I'll be honest, I'm not actually that upset. I'm not that cross or angry or sad or whatever, because I want Liverpool to win every game. I'm no sadder than I would be if we lost any other game. There's more to come. There's bigger games to come. But what Liverpool have lost there is keeping Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool manager for another few days, maybe even another week. We don't know how the Europa League's going to go. But as it stands, the Premier League season will end. And have a Europa League final. If they get to the Europa League final, that will be the midweek, and the FA Cup final was the weekend after. We could have had Jurgen as our manager for another week. It could have been another piece of silverware, and the players on the pitch haven't been able to do that job today. Now, is it something to throw the baby out with the bathwater? No. This team have gone to the absolute well time and time again over the last month. In fact, all the way going back to after the FA Cup, the FA Cup game, third round against Arsenal, when Salah went to AFCON, Liverpool have been running on a depleted side ever since then, through injuries and obviously going away to international tournaments, and then the knock-on impact from that. An international break coming, fingers crossed we get more players back at the end of it, because we still went into that game without Allister, without Trent, without Konate. If we had those players on the pitch, I think it might have been a different story, but it's not. The story is what it is. And Man United are going to go through to the next round, and that is killer. That's what makes this hard. Harder for me than anything is the fact that you were losing to them. But yeah, more bigger fish to fry, bigger games to come, more challenges and plenty still to play for in the season. Liverpool have got to make sure that this doesn't derail what they were going to do. That remains, that and the Europa League are with ultimately the secondary competitions of what we had left. There's one piece of silverware boxed. The league is what we're after. We're in the box seat for that. They've got to make sure that they do that. Not being in the FA Cup, does that make that easier? It actually does, only in so much as it means that no more fixtures are going to have to be rescheduled from the league. We've got a Merseyside derby still to play. We don't have to reschedule the Fulham game. These are small details. Hopefully we can turn a negative into a positive, because that's the only thing you can do with negatives, is sit in them, own them, and ultimately turn them into things that strive you to do more for the rest of the season. That's what Liverpool's challenge is going to be from here. Who's your man of the match? Let me know in the comments section underneath, and if you need to chat more about this, do check redmenplus.com out. Instant match reaction with Chris and Dan and the Player Ratings podcast over there as well.